कालाय विद्महे कालातीताय धीमहि तन्नो कालभैरव प्रचोदयात्. ओम हिंगुळे परमहिंगुळे अमृतरूपिणी तनुशक्तिमनशिवे श्री हिंगुळांबिकाय नमः. Namaskaram. Welcome to yet another episode of Guru Bhairava, where we will try to know about him one step closer as whatever we know him a minute before. In this particular Swarupa of Bhairava has very rarely been spoken about, because his Swarupa or a Tattva or why he is so different is what actually really matters in today's video. This particular Swarupa is called Vichitra Bhairava. He is the 107th Swarupa in the we call it as in from a Tantra. In Tantra Raja Tantra as well as in Brihat Bhairava Tantra, there are 108 different Swarupas of the Bhairava, out of which he is the 107th Swarupa, Vichitra Bhairava. See, there is one form of the Shiva. We know about the Bhairava, but there is a one form of the Shiva who does not comes to simply bliss the life. He comes to awaken, and he does not just removes the problem. He removes the fear behind that problem, and he does not come only to protect the seekers, but he transforms the seekers. And this particular form is called Vichitra Bhairava. See, by the name only we will get to know about what exactly his qualities is all about. He is a mysterious, he is a very fiercest, he is a compassionate, as he is a Adi Bhairava, Adi Guru, and he is not just a deity. He is not just the deity to worship, but he is a, we can call it as a doorway. He is a doorway to the state where the higher state of consciousness is getting connected. In this particular Swarupa, we have multiple connection when it comes to. Let's understand this. First of all, Vichitra is where exactly it stands. In Sanskrit, Vichitra stands as mysterious. Even in Kannada, in the many of the local languages, Vichitra means mysterious. Or even we can call it as something like a strange in a divine way. See, Vichitra is what we call it as mysterious because he operates on a mysterious level. Let's consider this. Like, imagine a sadhaka standing at the edge of the life. Let's understand that everything that one made sense to him no longer makes a sense. Like the plane, the whatever the his plans was there, it start failing. The people around him start changing. The promises made by the people or the surrounding by someone get break. The path what he has started with, he has diksha, he maybe have taken, or he has taken some guru diksha, or he has read some PDF file on the internet and started the sadhana. The path becomes foggy and the mind keeps asking. This is a common 3 lines problem as every of the sadhakas go through. Why it is happening? Why now in my life? And why me? These are the 3, we can call it as a problem statements, as every sadhakas will be having a question. And that moment, very moment, when the sadhaka is desperate for the answer, a terrifying but compassionate force emerges from the silence. That is what happens to all the Bhairava sadhakas. There is not an explanation, not to comfort in an ordinary way, or we can call it as, but it actually dissolves the false structure of a certainty, and that force is nothing but Bhairava. I always tell, unless he comes, he operates, he takes care of you, he is beyond what we have thought about. This is called beyond logic, and that beyond logic is what called mysterious. See, Vichitra also can be considered as beyond the ordinary understanding. We cannot, as a human mind, we cannot, it is very limited to even understand about him. See here, Bhairava means the one who destroys the fear. As everyone of know, by, by Bhairava is Bhai is actually the fear, who is Rava, who is actually removes the fear. But here, understand very clearly, this particular Swarupa is one who cuts the ego. Bhairava, in Vichitra Bhairava Swarupa perspective, he cuts the ego. And the one who makes the awareness a pure awareness, like who awakens the consciousness or who awakens the awareness himself, is Vichitra Bhairava. So Vichitra Bhairava is, like, we can call it as a very mysterious, very extraordinary form of the Shiva himself and Bhairava himself. So the destroying of the fear or a breaking of the ego, and that whichever brings the seekers into the path of truth, or which brings the light of the truth, is what Vichitra Bhairava is about. This particular thing, I believe most of you are knowing. See, when it comes to the understanding the Bhairava, maybe actually many of the Bhairava sadhakas, whoever seeing this, maybe agree with me on this. He does not comes like a gentle teacher for you, or he has not come into the life of the sadhaka as a gentle teacher. He comes as a cosmic interpretation. He comes like in such a way that he make you aware as what is importance in this my life, what is really important in my life, what exactly as a sadhaka I need to take care, how exactly I need to take care of my current situation. He enters when your logic is too small. It is like for my destiny, if my logic is too small, then only he comes into our life. Most of the sadhakas have this problem. For everything they need a logic. For example, Achamanya, if I tell, they tell why exactly Achamanya Tarpana need to be given in straight when it comes to the Devata. Why when it comes to the Pitru on the right, and especially when it comes to Rishimuni, why exactly on the left? Why exactly on the Swayam when it comes to the when it taking to the self? Here they ask from the logic perspective. Yes, of course. I tell that actually we have an answer for everything in Sampradaya, everything in the Sanatana. But when you start, when your logic start choking up, when your logic actually comes to an end, thinking that this logic is not going to help me, that's where actually he is going to change your life. And once that logic become very very small to you, that's where actually you will be able to see your destiny. Then only Bhairava will be able to disclose ourselves. See, he enters when your ego is trying to control. The divine only unfolds when actually your ego is being burnt. He enters when your life must be broken out of the we can call it as repetitive karmic loops. Many people come and tell that actually why me, why exactly me, why it is happening to me now, and why now, and all these three questions, as I told you, this is what actually called as in repetitive karmic loops, because some karmas cannot be healed by inner methods. Some knots are what we call it as some knots are too deep to untag. Like some obstacles are too, we can call it as bizarre. Some obstacles are so bizarre that actually you cannot even know what exactly you need to do. Somewhat like actually some enemies are too hidden, or even like some patterns are too, we can call it as ancestral. And in the especially in a Jyotish Shastra, this is called as a Pitrudosha. Trust me, many of them do not know how exactly the Pitrudosha comes into one's life. Everyone carries something called as a blueprint into the life, and they actually tell that actually because of these patterns of a grahas in the particular kundalini, that is where actually the Pitrudosha starts with. But I personally see some patterns are too ancestrals. They cannot be identified. It is somewhat like a hidden. And for such conditions of the life, there is the the universe sends not as an ordinary deity. Especially, I tell this to every Bhairava sadhakas. It sends the Bhairava, and that particular swarup of the Bhairava is nothing but Vichitra Bhairava. And this Vichitra Bhairava, very, very mysterious. Mysterious in the way the human mind cannot be put into a logical words. See, we go deeper. Like, let's understand what exactly the Vichitra Bhairava is all about. See, Vichitra is not usually counted among the most commonly popularized, what we call it as a public form of the form of like Bhairava Swarupa, like it may be a Kala Bhairava Swarupa, or it may be Batuka Bhairava Swarupa, or it may like stand out of like Ashta Bhairava Swarupa list. And even Chaushot Bhairava, whatever we have it. But here, in many lineages, such names appears more in we can call it as a Tantric Prayoga. It is called Tantrika Prayoga Parampara. Especially in Anatha, Bhairava Swarupa is very, very called as in Gaupya. See, regional Upasana streams are something different than the Sampradaya which will bring into your life. The oral transmission is what actually happens in such kind of a Sampradaya. Oral transmission happens from a Guru to the Shishya and Shishya to the Guru. It is not that actually everything can be shared onto the social media. No, this has not been done. It is called Guhya Paddhati. The Guru Mukti tradition actually starts with. And that particular tradition stands very, very open and close to the sadhakas, especially Vichitra Bhairava. He is not common for all these factors. Rather than mainstream, what we call it as a mainstream temple level of classification or understanding what we have it, this particular Swarupa cannot be held. You cannot even think about logically about this particular Swarupa. This is exactly different. This is where Natha Sampradaya and Kaula Sampradaya beautifully opens the supports how exactly Vichitra Bhairava can be understood in one's life. See, Vichitra Bhairava is unpredictable. He's unpredictable, especially in the what we call it as Parashurama Kshetra in the Mangalore. There is normally one particular Daiva, where Aradhana of him has been done in this particular Swarupa, Vichitra Bhairava. He is very unpredictable. His expressions are very, very different. He is very, very fiercest. He is very, very intelligent. He is the one who moves into the space where even human logical collapse. He is the Devata of the unusual pathways, unvisible reverals, or the impossible protections and the sudden karmic shifts which happens to the sadhaka. This particular Swarupa is Vichitra Bhairava. See, when the ordinary path is blocked, when the known methods stop working, when a ritual seems incomplete, when even the relationship becomes a cryptic, husband and wife, the cryptics, when the spiritual experience becomes the intense and strange, this is where the particular Swarup of the Bhairava discloses. It is Vichitra Bhairava. Vichitra Bhairava begins to move in our life. See, he is not a random. He is only appears as a random to the limited minds. Bhairava's Swarupa is like this. Many people will think that actually this particular Swarupa is not for me. This particular Aradhana Paddhati is not for me. When it comes to the Kaula Sampradaya, people tell that this particular Paddhati, because Vamachara and Dakshinachara, both different Vedanga, such kind of Aradhana of the Bhairava is being done in a different 3 tattvas. Every tattva has a different way to experience him in a different level. He is not random. He only appears random to the limited of the minds. People thinking that this is good for me, this is good. He is not a cart where actually you add what need to be done or how need to be done his Aradhana. There is a Paddhati. There is a structure which has been created for in front of you. That's how it need to be followed. It is not actually the oneself being designed. It is a Guru Parampara which is being shared. How exactly need to be done. This particular randomness comes into the life This logical mind or a limited mind, when it is dissolved, that's where the Bhairava will appears in one's life. And to awaken the eyes, he is a strange, we can call this as he strengthens is actually the higher order of a precision, and that precision only happens when sadhaka clears out the karmic loops. And what looks like a chaos in the life, it often are like I can call it a surgical grace. He will make sure that actually he will remove those. Even he did even to the Brahma. I believe you know about this particular story, the birth of the Bhairava, the core story. Many of them would be knowing this. It's like Bhairava and the like when Brahma and the Vishnu had a dispute among who is the greatest. The Brahma pride became very very strong. His ego arose so much that he forgot the truth about who exactly made him to give this particular task to him to drive it. At that moment, Shiva himself took the form from his little nail, the little finger. Bhairava was able to chop off the Brahma's kapala. And I believe you know about this. He came out of a third eye. Rest of the things is all the Bhairava sadhakas know about it. And this story was awakening. See, here, what we need to understand, especially when it comes to the higher order of precisions, when I told. Here, the higher order of precision, or what we call it as a, what looks like a chaos in the life, especially it often is surgical grace. The surgical grace is somewhat like even happened at that minute. Brahma's fifth head represented the ego. It represented the mind that says, I know everything. When the sadhaka, when self start telling or thinking that I know everything, I know how to do the dharana, I know how to do the pujya pata, or how I know how to read it, especially downloading the PDF file. I know how to read it. Beautiful than the person who is reading next to me, who has done the Veda Sampradaya. But still, I can read much more better than ego. I know everything. If this comes into your life, try to understand. Bhairava started operating in your life. He is going to chop off. He is going to do a surgical strike on those. He is going to remove the surgical grace on your life. And this, it is like it presents the pride. It always think about, I need to know about logical things. It always want to know have a false identity. This is what actually even the Brahma had it. This is what actually the esoteric story always gives us as a Bhairava sadhaka. This is what we need to always know. The pride, the presented pride, the logical thinking, the false identity which Brahma holded, Bhairava was able to chop off those. Bhairava removes the ego. This is why in the deeper tradition, Bhairava is understood as like a force that cuts the seeker's false identity. The real self arises only when this identity has been chopped off. That's where actually the surgical strike happens in one's life. What looks like a destruction in life, it is often we can call it as a karmic extensions. Many of them come and tell me that in my life, people are giving a backstabbing in my life every time they do it. And when it may be like family members, it may be like a people around you in the office, or it may be the people neighborhood or anyone. They always tell that actually such kind of a destruction of identity is happening in my life. What to do? It is, try to understand, it is a karmic extension which has been extended from your prarabdha, has always been told. Prarabdha. Sanchita, whatever you have accumulated in this life, agama, whatever is going to, you are going to act. This is what exactly the three loops is called as a karmic extension. This is what actually Bhairava is going to remove in the Vichitra Bhairava Swarupa perspective. I personally see when it comes to the Bhairava, he has all the distant aspects of the Bhairava in the Vichitra Swarupa. What looks like a delay, it often divine redirection happens. Many of them will come and tell me, this is becoming delay in my life. This is actually problem in my life. I am not able to go through this particular current situation. People are backstabbing me. How exactly? The only thing as a sadhaka, I always request them is, please go through. If you are not going to go through now, trust me, again you need to come back. Again you need to come back with a different skin, different texture, different country, different time, different people around you, but the same situation will repeat. Keep always things in mind. Life will put you into this karmic loop. If you want to come out of this loop, the only way is acceptance of this current situation. This is why he is called Vichitra. This is because he operates in the way that astonish even what is ego. You cannot even know what is the awakening of the soul happening. This is where actually Bhairava operates. See, Vichitra Bhairava, we as a sadhakas need to understand from a Tantra perspective. In Tantra, not only as a deity but as a state. In Tantra, what happens is, it is not about only the mudra, it is not only the yantra, it is not only the mantra which forms the Tantra, it is a tattva which forms the Tantra. I always tell, Bhairava is all about the tattva. Many people speak about the Tantra, but when it comes to the Bhairava, it is a consciousness. It is about the tattva. It is not only outside. Brahma also taught this very clearly. Ego is not outside. Once it has come up, he will come to make you that actually it need to be removed. He is also inside, and that Tantra, Bhairava state of consciousness, is what called Bhairava Tattva. In that state, let's consider as where the past stop pulling you, the future stop disturbing you, or even the fear stop controlling you. The mind becomes fully present, and that state, if you have ever experienced, that state is actually the Bhairava state, Bhairava Tattva. You have entered into the plane, you have entered into the ayama of the Bhairava state. This is what many Tantric scriptures also point towards. Everyone have a different name to experience that particular state of consciousness. But personally, if you ask me from a Natha Sampradaya perspective or from the Kaula, this particular state is actually called the state of consciousness of a Bhairava. This is the Bhairava Tattva. In that state, what happens to the sadhaka is, he will be fully aware. He will be like intensely present. Whatever he is currently doing in this particular minute, he will be very, very conscious as what he is trying to do. Still without any kind of a dullness. He will not be able to find of any kind of a dullness around you. The power without ego will be operating from him. And this is why Bhairava is so different. He is not only to the work shift, he need to be experienced. This is the reason Bhairava sadhana is completely different from any of the sadhanas, because this is a gateway for any kind of a Mahavidyas. He is a Kotwala. He is actually a Kshetrapala of any of the particular Mahasadhanas. And for even approaching that, the only way, before you are worshipping them, you need to experience this tattva. This is why actually he comes into your life. Like, always remember, beyond the fear or the beyond the form, whatever we call it as, this particular swarup of a Vichitra Bhairava, one must first understand the Bhairava himself. Bhairava is not merely the fiercest deity to hold the weapon as whatever you see or whatever the social media talks about today. He is not only to terrify the guardian of the sacred space of the Kashi Kshetra. Many people talk about it. He is a Smashanavasi, he is a Kalatita, he is a Kapaladhara. He is a... See, again, he is not merely the Kotwala of the Kashi. Or he is not only the Devata of a cremation grounds. Bhairava is a state of a consciousness. As already told, the word itself have a it often actually interpreted into two different words. Bhairava, fear, that which destroys, which dissolves, which that roars through it. That state of consciousness is Bhairava state, Bhairava consciousness. So Bhairava is a force where it destroys the fear as from the root. If people are still facing that, actually they have fear in their life or the life situation, try to understand your sadhana has something shortfalls. You need to enhance your connectivity with him much more in a deeper level. So Bhairava is a force which destroys the root of all the troubles, not by comforting your insecurity, but by burning the one who is insecure. Not by giving the mind more like concepts, logical minds. Most of sadhakas, whoever have it, logical minds. Not by giving the minds more the concepts, but to bring you to the 0 point. That 0 point will happen only when the point where the past no longer binds you, the future no longer seduces you, and the present becomes your absolute truth. And this state, and that the ego has nowhere left to stand in that particular position, this is the real Bhairava state. This is the real Bhairava Tattva. This is the real Bhairava consciousness. And Vichitra Bhairava is the very state of appearing with unusual karmic threatens will always repeatedly happens. See, when it comes to the Bhairava, many people would be having the question as why he is being called as a Prathama Guru. Why? See, in a deeper sadhana sampradaya perspective, Bhairava considered as a Prathama Guru. As we already spoken about him and the connectivity of the Brahma as well as a Vishnu story. Why? Why as a Prathama Guru? Let me tell you. Before the higher spiritual truth can even enter into one's life, before spiritual thoughts or spiritual realm should open into your one's life, you need to break. What is that breaking? Ego must be broken, or else never you will be able to go into the next stage. Before the, even what we call it as a tantra, even before any kind of a word tantra enters into this particular mind, or any kind of a mantra jagrita happens in our life, or even the Dashamahavidya sadhana, Mahavidya sadhana happens or comes into one's particular life, the three forces must be blessed. And that is, the three forces are very, very essential. Especially this is very clearly been taught in the Natha Sampradaya. Ganapati, Guru and Bhairava. Ganapati, who removes the obstacle. Especially Ganapati Aradhana is the must when it comes to the doing the different types of Bhairava Aradhana in a different states. Guru gives a direction where exactly, how exactly you need to go and what are the things you need to do it. Bhairava, he tests and purifies it. He is a real examiner for us. He is a real examiner for the sadhaka. This is why Bhairava is not just the god of a protection. He is a gatekeeper. He checks whether the seeker is ready for the next stage or not. This is why he is called Kotwala. This is why he is called a Kotwala of a Kashi Kshetra, the guardian of the sacred path. Because this being a Kashi Kshetra, before he enters into this particular life, he thinks he will test you whether you are capable to go to the next stage. This is why Vichitra Bhairava looks very different in this particular Swarupa. Not often appears like a Pharisee, yet compassionate. He is very wild, yet deeply aware. Terrifying to the ego, yet comfortable to the others, to the soul. This symbolizes carry a very deep meaning. We need to understand him in a different Paddhati perspective. When it comes to the Natha Sampradaya, Bhairava is considered as a Adi Guru. As I had already told. Why Adi Guru? Brahma, Vishnu, same story. Not just as a deity. Here, Shiva as a Adinatha is not separate from a Bhairava Tattva. This is what actually the Natha Sampradaya very beautifully always been said. Shiva is not different. Shiva is actually called as an Adinatha. Maybe Adinatha, we have spoken about him, this particular Swarupa. We have also shared some information about the Mashendranatha as well as when it comes to the Guru Parampara, Gorakhnatha, we have already shared. And here in the Natha tradition, openly reveals Shiva openly reveals as Shiva has a primordial guru. He is the Prathama Guru of every rituals what you started. In a Shaiva Tantra stream, what we call it as a Natha lineage itself traces very beautifully connects to the Adinatha and Bhairava. Here, why this matters when it comes to the Vichitra Bhairava, why exactly we are trying to talk about this today, why exactly we are trying to know about this. See, the Guru does not always teaches you by the scriptures alone. In the Natha Sampradaya, this is what clearly been taught to the Guru Shishya Parampara. This is not about the scriptures. Scriptures are good, but not always for everyone. The Guru teaches through the shock. Shock of what? He will reveal. He will reveal certain information and he will tell you certain information of yourself that you are not able to digest what you are. He reveals, he reversals your pattern of action what you carry. A paradox of thought process what you carried, it will be revoked. Whatever is, we call it as body discipline, is going to bring into your life. He is going to enable the silence in your life, and a leaving testing starts where this is what actually Guru teaches you. And the path is not merely linear here. The sadhaka is broken out from the mental habits. He may be having multiple mental habits. It may be like external facts or external habits of which is always making to pass. It may be smoking, or it may be consuming alcohol, it may be madara, mamsa, maithuna, any type of problems he may be going through. These are the mental habits, not merely as intellectual informed, but here exactly the spirit of the what we call it as Vichitra Bhairava accent. Vichitra Bhairava, he acts into the roots of this particular problem. In the Natha, Bhairava as a guru who teaches through the strange circumstances. Especially you as a sadhaka would be knowing about this. Many of them have experienced this also. Bhairava as a breaker of a manasika pattern. He always break this pattern. And Bhairava, when it comes to especially the avadhuta, like a force, beyond the what we call it as a predictable social or a mental structure, he works in a different layers. Bhairava as a one who destabilizes a lower identity of this particular self. So higher awareness can open up the door, and these all things happen only when his anugraha is there in our life. In simple words, I can only tell, when it comes to the sampradaya, see Bhairava less as only as an icon, the more as a living entity force. He is actually the spanda of this particular life, of this prana. He is that spanda, and that Vichitra Bhairava is that bindu. We call it as interiori force. When the Guru's grace comes in the way, the mind cannot decode it, and the decoding, when it stops, that's where the Bhairava starts operating in you. What we call it as, when it comes to the Bhairava Tattva is, see, it operates in a different level. There is a sadhaka who can grow through the unusual things. Like why he is called as a Devata's unusual path, especially in a Vichitra Swarupa perspective, is there are sadhakas who can grow through the beauty. There are the sadhakas who can grow through the devotion. There are the sadhakas who can grow through the discipline. I'm talking about the seekers who can grow through the beauty, who can who can actually grow through the disciplines, or go through the devotion. But there are also a sadhaka who carries the we can call it as crooked karmas. Few people actually come and tell, I have done everything but nothing is working with me. They are carrying something called as in crooked karmas. What is that? Ancestral disturbances, unseen blockages, psychic interferences, fear patterns, sudden reversal in the life. Everything happens to be past, and the spiritual confusion, always in confusion. Whether I need to go do this sadhana, this swarupa, that swarupa. This is what actually most of the sadhakas actually are in connect or actually packed with. This is called karma, prarabdha, crooked karma. I call it this as a crooked karma because you really don't know how exactly you have gone through, what you have bought, and you don't know how to actually spend those. For such sadhakas, the path cannot always be the straight. Try to understand. It becomes a symbolic. It becomes a dream-like state. It is. It becomes a encoded. It becomes more like a tantric, and this that and that is where the Vichitra Bhairava stands into the function when sadhaka's life can be changed. See, he is the Bhairava of a strange karmic reversal. Especially Vichitra Bhairava, he is a strange karmic reversal. He removes the karmic knot in the sadhaka's life. Unexpected divine interventions start happening in your life. Especially this particular word can be experienced or be heard with the sadhakas who have started the Bhairava sadhana. Breaking the psychic pattern, logical thinking, reversing the hidden enemies, your hidden enemies, dissolving the illusion through the shocks, protecting the sadhakas in an unseen dimension. This is what actually most of the sadhakas would be able to experience this, leading one from the fear into the fiercest surrender. This is where he is the guru of a paradox. I always tell Vichitra Bhairava Swarupa is not for everyone. Vichitra Bhairava Swarupa has a different, similar to the other Bhairava Swarupa, his face. He is a harsh towards the ego, but soft towards the inner seeker. He holds a Trishula, same like other Swarupa of the Bhairava. But here, those represent three state, Ida, Pingla and Shushumna. Bhairava is one who holds a seeker rising from the Shushumna awareness. This merging Maithuna, we call it as even in the Maithuna. 5 M's also will come into the picture in this particular Ida, Pingla and Shushumna. This particular state of Shushumna awareness is called Bhairava awareness. And the Damaru what he holds as a Vichitra Bhairava, it is same like other Swarupa, but here it is a Nada Brahma. Bhairava Swarupa, he holds the Damaru as a Nada Brahma, the sound from where the creation came. Today NASA is also trying to explore this. As I always told, you do not know about the quality of your mother unless your neighbor comes and prays about her. Like that, we as a Sanatani really actually don't know about the importance of our devatas unless someone from West comes and tell to us. This is the problem. And when it comes to the Kapala, see, Kapala is about the ego is a temporary. This is what actually he is trying to share to us. In the Bhairava Swarupa as well as in the Vichitra Bhairava Swarupa perspective, the Kapala what he holds, the skull whatever he holds, it tells that actually this ego whatever you are carrying is temporary. Whatever you carry, this body identity is temporary. Only the consciousness is eternal. This is what actually the Kapala represents. Okay. And similar to the Kala Bhairava, even Vichitra Bhairava also have the Swana, the dog. This is not random. See, the dog maybe represents as loyal. It may be also representing as alertness. It may be also be representing as a protection. It may be also be representing as Atma Jnana, what we call it as self-realization. But just like a loyal dog follows its master, the true self-knowledge follows the soul always. This is why the Swana is very important. It is a true self-knowledge, and once the true self-knowledge appears in sadhaka's life, he goes towards a master, and that master is none other than Bhairava himself, Adi Bhairava, Guru Bhairava. And why Vichitra Bhairava is different from the other Swarupas? Vichitra Bhairava, he does not only bless us, as already told, he transforms. Many forms comfort the devotees. Many forms of the different form of the devatas comfort the devata from devotees by asking this into this life. I want XYZ in my life. I want actually promotion in my life. I want a woman in my life. I want children in my life. I want money in my life. I want car in my. These are commodities. This comfort the devotees. But Vichitra Bhairava shakes the seeker awake. He makes sure that actually your ego is destroyed. He does not only remove the outer obstacles, he removes the inner fear. He removes the ego in the sadhaka. He removes the false identity behind the obstacles of your life. He is both fierce and intimate. Here, to the ego, he is a terrifying. Whoever has a ego thinking that me identity, whatever they carry, they feel him as actually a terrifying Swarupa. Vichitra, right? When it comes to the Vichitra, he is very terrifying. To the true seeker, he is a deeply compassionate. Bhairava Guna is like that. Bhairava Tattva is like that. He is very, very, very compassionate. It cannot be put into the words. It can be only experienced. And that experience can only come when you do a sadhana with utmost surrender. Surrendering him this particular self into his lotus feet, telling him that Daiva, Adi Guru, you are the only one. You can remove this karmic knot from my life. Please accept me at your lotus feet. When this comes, when ego is being surrendered at his feet, he deeply compassionates. He will, you can see him as a compassionate master. He is the identity. He is actually a deity of a threshold. See, when in every temple entrance, especially Shiva temple entrance, especially Chandrachuda temple, many of the temples, he is being kept as a Dwarapalaka. He represents as spiritual transmission. Before you enter into the higher state of a consciousness, first drop your ego at his feet and then go inside. This is what actually he is teaching us. The inner awareness pointing and even the karmic turning moments. This is what he is trying to teach. He is worshipped in temple, but real depth opening is the inner sadhana. Natha, understanding and Kaula Tantra is a different from all the Sampradaya perspective, because this particular Swarupa, see, this is not actually written somewhere, but I personally feel him, especially when it comes to the Vichitra Bhairava Swarupa perspective. Among the many Bhairavas form, there are few of Chaushat Bhairava, and Ashta Bhairavas holds the main, we can call it as the most of the communities, or we can call it as 8 directions of the kshetra, of the time zones. Ashtabhairava holds it, but each one has a special role. Here, I personally feel that Vichitra Bhairava is a combination of 3 Swarupas. Ashtabhairava, we call it as, especially in Ashtabhairava, Ashitanga Bhairava, and the Ruru Bhairava, and Batuka Bhairava. Why? Because as we spoke about how exactly he chop off unnecessary things in our life, also brings that the quality in the sadhaka's life. Ashitanga Bhairava, that leadership and the knowledge awareness is what he is going to bring into the sadhaka's life. When it comes to the Ruru Bhairava, he destroys the enemies. He destroys the obstacles. As I already told, how exactly Vichitra Bhairava operates. And when it comes to the Batuka Bhairava, the child form, quick response, fast grace, and this all combination of the Surupa, Ashitanga, Ruru, Batuka, this wholesome, this combination of 3 Swarupa is called, somewhat we can catch into this logical thoughts, like Vichitra Bhairava. It feels very, very unique because he cannot reflects a quality of many forms. He is of all the forms. He may appear but like a guardian. He may appear like a fierce destroyer. He may appear like a compassionated guru. He may appear like a mysterious inner force. This is why he is called Vichitra, because he does not stay in one limited expressions. He makes sure that those expression and the logical minds which the sadhaka think that what I am, he is going to remove that. See here, the mind wants something always when it comes to the logical minds. Vichitra Bhairava, especially this particular quality. Everyone thinks that actually mind wants something like everything in a black and white. Very, very clear. That tells that I am a very, very studious sadhaka. I think that A, B, C, D need to be done first and Z need to be done later. I'm very systematic. I need to think that actually I need to get, these are the steps I need to get. Then only I'll be able to start. Let me tell you, in Bhairava sadhana, Bhairava tantra, Bhairava consciousness, this is not black and white. Whatever your mind think as good and bad, whatever your mind think as gain and loss, whatever your mind think as blessing and curse, but Vichitra Bhairava destroys this particular childish duality. You hold this childish duality as what exactly I need to know, like black and white. What you think yourself as good and bad, what you think that this is a gain for me or a loss. Most of them come to the sadhana to gain something. What leaves may be a grace. Keep this in mind. What breaks may be a purification in your life. What delays may be a protection in your life. What confuses may be a initiation to you. Many of them actually come and tell in Prathama Charana, Dvitiya Charana, Tritiya Charana, even in the Rudraksha Diksha, they tell that actually I'm a bit confused, I'm puzzled. What confuses may be initiation. Try to understand this. What frightens may be a awakening to you. This is why he is a deeply connected. This deeply connection to the Bhairava state of a non-duality in the Vichitra Bhairava tradition, or in the Bhairava tradition, or a Bhairava consciousness. Bhairava is not merely a deity outside. He is a highest awareness beyond what we call it a fragmentation in this life. He is, when a Vichitra Bhairava works on a sadhaka, he slowly brings them to the terrifying, beautiful realization. I'm using this word very consciously. Terrifying, beautiful. Nothing is random. Nothing is outside of the field of consciousness. Even the strange is sacred. This is what actually he is going to teach us. And once the sadhaka sees this and fear begins to dissolve, that's where think that you are in the right path of the sadhana. You have gone into the state of Bhairava consciousness. Here, many of the people talk when it comes to the different swarupas of the Bhairava, and especially when it comes to the what we call it as the deeper tantric meanings. This word actually I try to avoid to tell many of the things, but yes, in many of the videos we have already spoken how Vichitra Bhairava is connected to the Panchamakaras. Maybe on those grounds I will be able to tell. So, what we in Tantra, many things are misunderstood. Many of them actually think the Tantra is in a different concept. They think that actually sitting in some cremation ground, sitting and doing some kind of a ritual, doing some mantra sadhana is all about Tantra. No. Even sitting in front of Devatas at the Devata Graha is also a Tantra. Because you are using a medium to do your connection, and that connection itself is a tantra. And so-called panchamakara are not always to be taken only as literally as what the mind understands or what you have understood from social media perspective. There is a deeper meaning when it comes to the panchamakara, especially in the Natha Sampradaya, especially when it comes to the Vichitra Bhairava perspective. This particular details connects us in a different level. There are deepest meaning for this Panchamakaras. When it comes to the Madhira. See, Madhira is not the alcohol offering. One way it is correct. But Madhira is intoxication. Intoxication of what? Intoxication of consuming of Guru's word. Intoxication of consuming the divine state in your life. This is the state of the Madhira. Every sadhakas need to have it. Mamsa. Surrender to this bodily thing. Surrender to this bodily ego. Thinking that I know everything. Logical thinking, good, bad, ugly. Once this Mamsa is been offered to the Guru, once this Mamsa is offered to the Bhairava, you get to know about what is the importance of the sadhana. Third, Matsya. See, Matsya is actually related to your restless mind that must become still And this is what actually the real offering of the Masya come into the picture when it comes to the Panchamakara Masya offering to the Bhairava. It is not only the external offering, as I already told. In the ritual perspective, it is one way of offering. But keep this in mind. Unless you offer your restlessness mind to the lotus feet of him, of his, to the Bhairava, unless this becomes still, that particular offering what as a sadhaka I do, that is a masya offering. Because mind is always a movement, and that movement is nothing but masya. The fourth one is actually maithuna. The maithuna, one way it is different, but inner union of Shiva Shakti. This we have very beautifully spoken about this in the Life Within and Without, the book which is offered to the Lokarpana, which has been done. And this is not, as I always told, it is not for everyone. This is only for the seekers who are actually truly want to know about it. Maithuna details, especially this Panchamakara details, are beautifully been articulated and given the information. To put it into a single words, Maithuna is a union of Ida, Pingla and Shushumna. That Shushumna where it get active, that is Maithuna. This is this surrenderness, what is called Turyatita, with particular state of consciousness, offering to the where Shiva Shakti union happens, Ida Pingala, the masculine and the feminine energy get combines. That particular moment of energy offering to him is a Maithuna. The fifth is actually the Mudra. Mudra is actually the sealing of consciousness. Awakened awareness is what the state as the sadhaka need to understand. This mudra is not only the hand locks. This mudra is a sealing into the consciousness. What you are trying to do, how exactly I am offering, this awareness of offering is called mudra. These five things, Madhira, Mamsa, Masya, Maithuna and Mudra, is not only the Panchamakara which is being seen from the outside. Here, Bhairava acts in a different level. He accepts what the world rejects. He transforms it into the path of the liberation. This is what as a sadhakas we need to understand. See, particular sadhana, what we need to understand, especially when it comes to the Vichitra Bhairava or a Bhairava sadhana perspective, is it will come with an humility. It comes with a sincerity. It does not ask one only for the outer gains, like asking for the fearlessness, asking for the inner clarity, asking for the ego to the reduce, or it is not only to asking for the awareness to rise. This path is not for the casual. I always tell Bhairava sadhana is not for casual things, but casual sadhakas, not to test whether this is going to work with me, or I am going to do this particular sadhana for a few days. Let me see whether this works for me or not. Let me tell, you are actually working with the fire, and once you touch the fire, you will be burnt. It has to. Your karmic knots need to be removed. But the sincere seeker, his grace is very, 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 very powerful, and that will surely happen. And what we need to understand here is every life, even if the life becomes strange, I will not leave my center in front of you. This is what actually as a Bhairava sadhaka we need to stand in front of him and always tell him in each day of Mandala sadhana. See, let me just tell you. When it comes to the journey of the Bhairava or the Vichitra Bhairava, it is not about the darkness to the light, to the simplest way what we can understand is in its form. In the Vichitra Bhairava Swarupa perspective or in the Bhairava Swarupa perspective, control to surrender. It is often what we need to understand it is control to surrender. It is a confusion to the trust which will change you. It is about the fear to the inner steadiness is a state which is going to bring you. The logic to the higher intelligence which is going to bring you. A reaction to the witness which is going to bring you. The karmic repetition to the conscious disruption is what it is going to bring you. The egoic knowing to the sacred unknowing is what it brings you. At the first, sadhaka trembles before him. His, his method feels too intense. His silence feels too loud. Sometimes even Guru will become very silent. This is not actually to make you, it is to make you aware that what you are capable of. This silence feels very, very loud. His grace feels too strange. But over the time, something changes in your life. The same sadhaka who once feared uncertainty in his life now walks through the clarity through it. The same sadhaka who was once panicked in the delay now sees a timing in every divine. He'd start telling that the divine support has started supporting me in every aspects of the life. The same sadhaka who was once demanding the answer, I need this, I want to know this. Now the rest is the awareness. This is the siddhi of the Vichitra Bhairava. Siddhi can be of many forms, not the magic, not the display, not the performance. Rudraksh, Vibhuti, not the performance, but the terrifying, beautiful, the inner state where the soul stays. Even if life becomes strange, I will always stand at your lotus feet. This is what the mantra we need to carry. And when that happens, Bhairava is no longer outside you. He has become your inner fiercest intelligence, your guardian through the unknowns. You are at the state of Bhairava consciousness. You are at the state of Bhairava Tattva. See, Vichitra Bhairava is not the Devata to the chaos. He is the master of the hidden order within that chaos. He appears strange only to the ego. To the awakened one, he is the most precise form of the grace. His grace is very, very unique. Vichitra Bhairava is not only the Fersi of the Shiva Swarupa, he is a mysterious force that destroys the fear, cuts the ego, awakens one's life into a different stages. When the ego falls, fear falls. When fear falls, awaken rises. When awareness rises, Bhairava is no longer outside you. He becomes the state. Bhairava Tattva. You become the state of that Tattva. So, some forms of the Bhairava protects you. Some forms transforms you. But this particular Swarupa, Bhairava, in this particular form of Swarupa, Vichitra Bhairava, he enters when your life no longer follow the logic. He is a mysterious Bhairava who breaks the pattern, exposes the hidden karmas, and teaches the each soul to the truth and the trust the divine even in chaos. This particular state of blessings will only happen to the sadhakas of the Bhairava. May Bhairava bless you, guide you, nurture you in your sadhana. Maybe with this note, we'll conclude this episode today. We'll come out with one more beautiful experience of Bhairava and different Swarupas to know him one step closer. Om Kalakalaya Vidmahe Kalatitaya Dhimahi Tanno Kalabhairava Prachodayat. Om Kamakya Varade Devi Neelaparvatavasini Tvam Devi Jagatam Matram Yoni Mudre Namostute. Namaskaram.